Hello and welcome back. I'll be making skeleton keys today here on the Jasa channel. And so let's see if I can unlock the secrets of the skeleton key today. I'm starting out on some 7mm borosilicate rod. I'm heating up a wide area of glass and bending it with the tweezers. I'm going for a hot seal here, so I'm going to heat up both areas very molten and connect them in the flame. This will create a loop, and then I'll keep rotating and use a little bit of gravity to help center it at the end of the rod. Take it down to the marving pad and flatten it out. Next, I'll use the brass reamer to open the hole back and forth gradually to about 7mm because I'm planning to make a keyring also. I'll use my graphite paddle to flatten it out one more time and then punty up because this side is complete. I'll flame cut a length of the rod off, but it's not short enough, so I'm going to take off another little bit. And speaking of bit, that will be the next part of the key. The bit is what activates the locking mechanism. It can be made in all shapes and sizes in order to fit a specific lock. And now the term skeleton key is often associated to something like a master key, a key which will fit and open every lock. And this is somewhat true. The key has to be a specific size and length in order to fit the lock, but the bit may have notches ground into it, which help it bypass obstructions which are built into the locking mechanism. And so by taking a normal notched key and illicitly grinding down the edges, you can make a skeleton key. And of course that won't work with most modern locks. They're much more complex. They use a series of pins and springs along with the tumbler, which is the rotating cylinder. And then your key will have ridges, about 5 or 7 of them, which will raise the pins to the correct height and allow the tumbler to rotate. And so I was practicing this project a little bit and made a few more keys off camera. I'm going to change up the technique a little bit. And this first part, the loop, which I think technically is called the bow, is going to be pretty much the same, except I'm switching over to a colored rod this time. This color is called Fade to Black from Troutman Art Glass. It's a reactive striking color, but it starts out black and then strikes to white. And then if you heat it up hot enough again, you can supposedly unstrike it back to black. And so it's a very interesting color. I've never seen something like that before. It also does show a little bit of blue along with the white. It kind of reminds me of lightning. It's really cool looking. I think it would go great in sculptural work, like an animal or maybe even a dragon. I wouldn't encase it too deeply in a marble, though, like in an implosion. Maybe on the outside of the marble, like a backing, would be really cool. And so a slight change to the technique, I found it was a lot easier to make the bit separately and then attach it to the key. Instead of trying to shape the bit while it's on the key, I kept overheating the shaft and kind of misshaping it. I'll attach a punty up to the bit and flame cut it off. I'm using my fade to black rod as my punty instead of a clear rod. This way it won't leave any clear glass when I'm done. And now if you've seen the last episode of the statue with the sphere, the cube, and the tetrahedron, I kind of thought it needed a name, and so I came up with Fortitude. Fortitude is a measure of physical and mental health. If you have good fortitude, you have a great amount of stamina, great strength against adversity and danger. And so why choose that for that particular statue? Well, because it's not the first time I made it, actually. I made the entire statue, got it about 98% of the way done. I just had to remove one last punty and it would have been done. But cracks started happening. First, it was only the sphere, so I remade it. I took off the cube and the triangle and put on the new sphere, and that's when the other two started cracking on me. So it was about 10:30 at night. I was feeling a little bit disappointed that it wasn't working out. I was thinking I could either cancel the episode coming up or stick to it. Get back in there and make it again. And so I made all the parts, put them all together, and got it done. It was about 12:30 by the time it was finished. So I was thinking I might keep this statue close on my desk. Anytime the deadline's getting short, I'll just have to remind myself, stick to it, get to melting. But now I'm making the keyring. I'm using just gravity here. I'm not using my tweezers. Trying to get a very nice and clean bend. And I was actually doing this for a lot of the other clear keys. This would be good practice for learning how the glass likes to move. I'm definitely adding the skeleton key to the list of practice projects. I'd probably put it in there after you work on marbles, but before pendants, and very much before chain necklaces. Although this is very similar to the chain necklace, doing these bends. And I had to let it cool about 5 minutes there so that I can go in with my hands to finish it off. I'm going to cut it with my tile snips and then go in and flame polish that edge. It got pretty rough. And then I'm going to pull it down and fit it into place so that the keys don't fall off too easily. And I'm going to test if the keys can still fit through that gap. It's very important to test your pieces, whatever you're working on, as you're doing them. I pulled it down even more, and it still fits, so good to go. And so here it is. I'm going to start putting the keys onto the key ring. And I forgot to double check the black key to see if it would fit on here. And luckily it just fits. And that striking blue is just fire. I mean, look at it. It's like a lightning bolt going down the key. I might call it the lightning key. It's by far my favorite. And these keys are actually pretty durable. I could wear them off a belt, maybe even use them in a real lock if I matched the size right. But I'm probably going to put a cord or a chain on the black lightning key and use it as a necklace. That's going to look cool. And so my friends, we've reached the end of the video. I had a lot of fun on this one. I'll probably be doing a sequel to this one sometime later. But if you enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to share on Facebook. And as always, stay safe and stay melty.